everyone, this is Andrea of Makadrez.com. Today we are sitting here with entrepreneur and writer of the book, Don't Dumb Down Your Greatness, Anthony Frasier. So how are you today?
I'm good. I'm trying to be like you. You know, you got this platform, you're making amazing content, amazing videos. Makadrez is taking off, and I'm just trying to follow in her footsteps. And that's what I tell her all the time, but she think I'm joking, but I'm not.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So, what has been going on with you? It's 2018. It's the new year. What new things have you been working on lately?
Well, I've been focused really on my new company, ABF Creative, which is the hoodie I'm wearing right now. And what we do is we create branded podcasts. So we work with larger companies to help them kind of craft some content that fits the audience that they're trying to reach. And so we just launched our first podcast in the summer called VC Cheat Sheet with Rutgers Business School. And we're currently working with some other high-profile clients I can't really say on the interview, but we're really excited about it. But then on the other hand, we're also producing original scripted dramas on audio too. So think about, you know, movies. We're basically doing indie filmmaking, but without cameras. Like, it's all audio, real voice actors, real scenes. It's going to be really dope. And so we hope to have our first pilot done at least by the end of the winter.
That sounds like an impressive resume for 2018.
I'm kind of transitioning. You know, I'm in the tech industry for like almost 10 years now, and a lot of people don't know, but I kind of started off in the film industry. Well, I didn't start in the film industry. I wanted to be in the film industry. So I went to school for film, but then I ended up dropping out because I didn't have any money to finish school. So it was, it's almost like full circle. You know, I'm getting back to storytelling. I'm getting back to the art of storytelling, and I'm super excited about it because people like Ava DuVernay and Issa Rae and you know, Donald Glover and Lena Waithe and you know, so many countless others who are just doing real great black storytelling, and I'm super inspired by it. Like, I'm super inspired by it. Like, they actually got their pictures on a wall on a vision board. I made my first vision board, and I was like, yo, I need to meet these individuals at some point in my career. Even Ryan Coogler, who's now directing the Black Panther movie, I actually got a chance to sit down with him a few years ago. We met at the airport. He recognized me from when I was on CNN a few years ago, and we sat down and we had like a good 40-minute conversation, and I think that was the one thing that kind of almost sparked it in me, because here's this young man who looks just like me, like he could be from Newark. He's not conforming. He's not, you know, he's still him. I saw some pictures of him on set with nappy hair and a beat up T-shirt. Like, he was like, he just woke up out of bed, just chilling. Like, yo.
So when you work, sometimes it's like that. It really is like that.
So I like creativity, you know, and that's a large part of what tech does represent for me. You know, as I've been in the tech industry, I love the art of making something out of nothing and creating solutions using technology. But now I feel like it's time to merge those worlds. And so I think podcasting is the perfect gateway to do that. So
I don't want to get the name, the podcast title.
VC Cheat Sheet.
VC Cheat Sheet.
Yeah.
What does that stand for?
Venture Capital Cheat Sheet.
So what exactly is that about? That podcast?
So right now, I spent a large part of 2017 and even a piece of 2016, you know, being an entrepreneur in residence at a venture capital firm. And so what I was able to learn from that experience has been priceless. You know, a lot of people of color simply, you know, are unfairly not getting funded. There's a lot of other systemic reasons why, but one of the biggest reasons is like the lack of resources and education around investment in general. You know, and so I said, okay, I can't necessarily fix the systemic problems that happen in getting funded and getting venture capital, but what I can do is attempt to fix the education problems, and that's like learning how to network with investors. Literally, Andrea just asked me right before the interview started, how do I find angel investors? We have a whole episode. If you go to VC Cheat Sheet on iTunes, we have a whole episode, 30 to 40 minutes, dedicated to teaching young Black entrepreneurs how to network
What is the
with
episode name?
investors.
I'm gonna
How
look
to
it up.
network with investors.
Okay, simple.
There it is.
Okay.
And so, but that's the thing, because that question you asked me is a question that we get from, well, from the Black community, a lot. What is a seed round? What is an angel round? What is a Series A round? How do I set up my corporation right? Do I need law? What are the legal steps? Just all these different things that, we don't have people around us to give us those answers, and we don't have access to venture capitalists and, places like this. We're in Newark Venture Partners right now, where you can go find a partner on any given day and say, hey, what does this mean? And so I was just trying to figure out how can I create that resource for someone who doesn't have access. And that's what we're actually working on the second season now. So
really, so how many episodes in is this the first season?
The first season, which is out now on Amazon. on iTunes. It's on Amazon. Is it on Amazon? It might be on Amazon too. It's on iTunes. It's on Google Play. It's everywhere. But we have about 9 episodes.
Nice.
And so the next season will have about 5 episodes. So
okay. So you come from the tech world.
I do.
How long have you been in the tech world?
I would say about just a little bit, about 10 years now, or a little bit over. Maybe.
So I'm pretty sure you have seen the many changes of the tech world. I
have.
So what do you think of the changes that are going on right now in the tech world?
It's not changing enough. I think right now, there's 2 things. 2 things I'm mainly focused on. There's 100 things you can focus on. Number 1 is the lack of funding, for, Black and African American startups.
But they do have things like Afrotech.
That doesn't really
focused around Black startups and Black entrepreneurs within the tech world and bringing in Black entrepreneurs to the tech world.
I think that's great. I think opportunities like that and meet and network are great. But what I want to do is, especially for this area in Newark, New Jersey, what I'm trying to do is create a fund.
Okay.
And this fund won't be exclusive to tech startups. So we're going to do tech startups and tech enabled. So tech enabled means you have a regular business, but you rely heavily on technology to get the word out or function, basically, as a business. And so most businesses today are tech enabled.
Yeah, kind of like how Uber Eats and everything else, like restaurants work.
Exactly.
Right
every business, honestly, it don't matter what business you're in, you are in the media and the tech industry, and you're falling behind if you're not, recognizing that truth. And so, when I'm going to create a program where we teach small businesses in Newark, whether they be tech or tech enabled, we'll put them through like maybe a 1 to 3 month program. Maybe shorter, maybe longer. We're still figuring things out, where we give them a sum of money and then help them kind of grow and scale that business to become profitable. I think the problem now is that, we're trying to help businesses get more money and funding, but I think we need to focus on profitability. I think that's a big focus that we should have on these new businesses, especially people of color. So I want to create a program where we focus on profitability, but we also help give them money to be in this program and then show them how the money can be used to get to that point, And so I plan on launching that by the end of 2018.
I'm just curious now, because that sounds like an amazing idea.
Yeah.
Do you assist these companies in the planning, as far as business planning, how to properly create a business plan and how to properly align your business to move along to what your business plan is?
Well, I have to be honest. Like, there are other programs out that teach people a lot of the basic stuff. I think what we're trying to do is it's going to be an application process. So we're going to try to pick people who has the most potential, but it still has to be, they don't have to have like everything all their ducks in a row. But I see something in the team. I see something in the problem that they're solving as a business. I see something in the entrepreneur, the leader, or maybe even the market. So like something that just shows us that they're ready to go to the next level. If they just had that one mentorship or that one mentor, that one idea or that one key thing. So we're not really taking anybody from the very bottom, but at the same time, there are a lot of businesses and African American, Latino, multicultural businesses, especially in the area of Newark, who fit the description of what I just named. So I have no worries about, finding the right people
Okay, that sounds really dope.
at this moment.
Okay, so let's get back to this book. Don't
Definitely.
dumb down your greatness.
Yeah.
I have to say, I have all these markings going on in this book, as you can see. You can see right here, right here. This book right here, there are so many gems in here within like the first few chapters. I was blown away as I read through this book. So what really inspired you to write this book?
When I had the startup before this, which was a company called the Fat Startup. And what the Fat Startup was is like a media company. We did conferences and events in New York City, and we did tech conferences all over the country, in New York, Oakland, DC, Atlanta, and we brought out some of the biggest names in the tech industry. Very well-known investors, and even some music artists like Ryan Leslie. And so
Nice.
we had a really good movement going. I would say that we had a lot of momentum going, and we kind of predated a lot of the more hip hop and African American focused tech conferences you see out here today. I think we set the trend, early with that. But at the same time, when we ended that, unfortunately, I had a lot of time, to myself, and it's not like I had a severance package, so I wasn't sitting on a lot of money. But I was like, man, like I want to kind of inspire people. A lot of people were inspired by me, hitting me up, emailing me, saying, hey, thanks for teaching me this. Because with the Fat Startup, we were putting out content, really teaching people. Like, education is the best marketing. I learned that from a mentor of mine, and it always stuck with me. And we grew Fat Startup through education. And so because of that, a lot of people were still hitting me up and saying, yo, I would love to learn this. So I was like, man, what if I could just write a book where I could help a lot of young people out at scale? And I've been toying with the idea for about a year, but then I announced it on my birthday. I was like, I'm writing a book, and it's releasing in 30 days. And I haven't written one word yet. So, I wrote it in 30 days. Not a lot of people know that. I blogged about it, but yeah.
You wrote this in 30 days?
I wrote it in 30 days.
This is a lot of gems. I still have.
It's a small book,
I picked up in here.
It's not a big book. It's only like 100 pages.
It's not a big book, but the book itself, it has a lot of information packed in there. Yeah. And it's not as far as, oh my gosh, I'm gonna read this book and I'm gonna know how to invest in my company. Yeah. It's more so I'm gonna read this book and I'm gonna try and change my thinking when it comes to business. Yeah.
So it's a business book, but it has no business tips.
None. But it's almost everything, though, because I feel like it's kind of like self-help business, just a way to say, instead of thinking someone's perfect example, instead of thinking people are attacking you, kind of review your approach. If you get
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just, your perception is everything, right? So I was just telling Andrea, I was like, yo, like I had a really bad day yesterday. And and to me, I spent a large amount of my time practicing what I preach, especially in this book. It's just kind of changing the perception of what I really felt. Things don't happen to you; they happen for you. And I think that if you think in the mind state of things happening for you, you'll be in a better position, especially all the time, definitely.
So, you've been in the industry, tech, of course, 10 years. Yeah. But before you got in, you did start out in gaming.
I did. Yeah. I had a video game website. You know that. All right, so I
had a video game
website. I had a video game website called thecoalition.com. No, I have a video game website. I still own the website along with three other individuals. And we made the site because we used to frequent this video game forum, and we used to frequent a lot of video game sites, and it was always filled with, not the picture we saw as gaming. Like, so for them, they was like, yeah, gamers are these fat, overweight, in the basement, white dudes with glasses, eating Cheetos all over their controller, and they geeky. And I'm like, I didn't grow up like that. I grew up with, my uncle introducing me to Tecmo Bowl, playing Madden. That's my story. Like, that's the hood story of video gaming. So we was like, yo, we need to create a medium where our voice can be heard, where people can see us and recognize and respect us. And so we made the coalition.com, and from there it just blew up. Got over 100,000 uniques, and back in the day, that was a lot for us.
Over 100,000 period. Even now, that's huge for some people.
Yeah. Oh, I thought that was old news. I ain't know, 100,000. But for us, we was like, yo, this is fire. Like, we can do something with this. We started getting invited to developer conferences. We started going to see developers at their offices. We went to all the big game conferences like E3, GDC, PAX. It was amazing.
And you did this without using what people use now, the SEO. You did this without knowing it and without using it?
No, we knew that.
Oh. I'm trying to give you leverage right there. Just that. Okay.
Nah, we knew that. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, honestly, that's what helped us. Yeah, we knew how to SEO really well. That's one of the skills that I know how to do from early on. Creating content. We knew. We still had a disadvantage because of the color of our skin. There was plenty of times, and people don't know this. I rarely talk about this, but we used to always get our site hacked or 4chan and one of those big, white supremacist forums. Mm-hmm. They will always troll our website and say, "What do you niggers know about video games?" and stuff like
serious?
That. Yeah, wow. We faced a lot of racism in the gaming industry. I remember one of my friends, who wrote a really, really great review about an RPG game, and it wasn't favorable, but it was fair. It was a good review, and all of a sudden, the only thing that mattered to people who read it was that the guy who wrote it was black. They didn't even care about what he wrote.
You would never think in the gaming industry, though.
Oh, no.
Everybody.
Oh, no. Game industry is filled with racism. Oh,
That's
no.
So interesting.
It's filled with racism. And even when you look at, online gaming, you get called a nigger 20 to 25 times every time you're playing Call of Duty. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I got called a nigger when I was playing Uno on Xbox.
Okay, I see where you're coming from now. Yeah.
Yeah, there was even a story that came out about the YouTube guy PewDiePie, who's like the largest YouTube gaming streamer. He was caught calling somebody a nigger online. He said, "Oh, he's such a nigger." This is a white Norway. He's from Norway or something like that. I don't know where he's from, but he represents. So when he did that, it was news to a lot of people, but it wasn't news to black people who were familiar with gaming. Mm-hmm. Like, we know this happens. Like, this is not news to us. It didn't surprise me in the slightest bit.
I'm still baffled by that.
It's still, and that's why we need more voices. Shout out to my good friend, Hip Hop Gamer, who's from Brooklyn. He was one of the
Brooklyn?
Brooklyn in the house. But he res BK hard. Like everybody in BK. But
that is true. It is true.
He was one of the very first vocal African Americans in the video game industry, as far as from the journalist point of view. And not afraid, and when I mean vocal, and when I say African, I mean not afraid to be himself, or actually, like, when you see him, he is Brooklyn. He's wearing the hat, he's rapping, he's, you know what I mean? He got the slang, he got the swag, so we didn't see anything like that, because normally when I saw a black person in the video game industry, he basically looked like everybody else that was in the video game industry, except he just had black skin. And that's not taking nothing away from them. But like I said, those stories, his story was still different, that other guy. I related to Hip Hop Gamer because he looked like me. He talked like me. He was raised like me. Right. He's from a neighborhood like mine. And so we have different stories to tell. And people hate, they don't want, when we started to bring our narrative in the video game industry, people hated it. They didn't want us. They didn't want that in the video game industry. They're like, "Why are you here?" They wanted to stick to that normal, geeky. They're like, "No, get that black stuff out of here." That's what people would say.
That's so disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, this was rarely talked about. You're getting the exclusive. I never talked about this. This is just something we just known about internally. But I'm pretty sure we get the word out eventually. Yeah.
It's disgusting. Literally, as far as we've come as a community, it's disgusting that people are still living in the 60s. You look like you're in the early 2000s. No, we're not in the early 2000s no more. We're in the 21st century.
We're in like the quarter 2000s.
Okay. Yes, exactly what Anthony just said. But you're still living like you're in the 60s.
Yeah.
Get it together. That's what I have to say about that.
She told y'all.
Get it together.
Get it together.
Because us black people, we moving up. Get it together. Talking about the gaming industry.
Okay.
So, I was reading an article the other day, and it just seems like everything is about VR. And they're saying how in 2018 there's going to be a lot more games that are going to come out. They're going to be based on the virtual reality experience. How do you feel about the VR experience?
I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I kind of thought it was a fad at first. Not for movies. I like VR movies.
Yeah, they're good.
They're cool. I rock with that. But I think I think it's gonna get more advanced. I don't think VR. At first, I thought it was a fad. I definitely don't think it's a fad anymore. I think it's gonna continue to be part of the entertainment experience and grow. But as far as gaming is concerned, we have to get to the point right now where mainstream can adapt it, and we don't necessarily have mainstream hardware out there that can really take advantage of VR technology as much. Like PlayStation came out with some VR stuff. I know the Oculus is out. I know, but people, the technology it's not mainstream adaptable yet.
They're saying because of Pokemon Go, the recent one that came out where you're walking and you're just catching your Pokemon anywhere, that basically inspired a lot of the VR experience.
So that's called augmented reality.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Augmentation.
Okay,
reality.
yeah. So augmented reality is here to stay. Like, I think that's easily, you get it on your phone right now. You get it on your iPhone right now. Augmented reality is definitely going to be going to the next level in the next year.
But you see, it's cool. Me personally, all this new technology is cool, but it's kind of like stopping people from doing their daily things. You know what I mean? People are getting much more dependent on these technologies. And tech, I'm all for tech. Tech is good. Tech, whatever do to better society, it's good. But some of these technologies that are creating is making society be less independent and more dependent.
Well, I mean, I agree with that, but I'll even add to that to say that, it's becoming more not dependent, but then distracting too. Like, it's super distracting. I think, especially for young people, super distracting. And then number two, while I am happy you can do a lot of things on an iPhone, I'm super grateful, a young person can access technology and information through an iPhone. But it's very hard to create through an iPhone, especially when it comes to development.
Yeah.
Like, you can't develop an app through an iPhone. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's somebody who created an app that lets you create apps, but you know what I mean. Like, you can't really, learn a program through an iPhone, unless you're watching videos. But in order to apply that knowledge that you watched, you have to get on the computer and bang it out. And so I just think that I don't want young people to get so into the phone that they stop learning how to use an actual computer. I think a phone is closing the digital divide, especially on information. Like, that's the most biggest thing. Like, these young kids, and that's why I say distraction is a problem, because they do have these phones, but they're not necessarily using it to look up the right information. I had someone hit me up the other day and was like, "Yo, teach me about cryptocurrencies," because I got a crypto group and I've been invested in crypto. And I was like, yeah, the information is freely online, and that's how I learned. I was telling them how I learned, I was like, yo, the information is freely online. I highly suggest you look into it. A lot of people of color are getting into it. But then this person hit me back and said, send me the info. I'm like, damn, like, this is where we got, where you need, like, you have access to whatever I have access to, you have access to. Like, take advantage of the information. I'm trying to learn how to write like I took a class on screenwriting when I was in college. I'm trying to take another class instead of going to a county college. I went to Coursera.com and I signed up for a screenwriting class on Coursera. Like, and it's free. So I just think that it's distracting because we're using it to look up World Star and all this other stuff and look at the latest, the join in the conversation for Love and Hip Hop and all that. My thing is like, yo, you got this phone, use it to really learn something, because that's what I'm doing. And that's what anybody you see that got ahead, that's what they're doing too. So be like them. Get their habits. They work,
Let's get it. What has been the biggest challenge you have faced so far?
The biggest challenge I've faced so far is myself.
That's very strong.
You know what? You know what's so funny? If you asked me that question a year ago, or even 2 years ago, or even 5 years ago, it would have took me a long time to think of the answer. Because, I had so much learning to do in 2017 that I finally learned that I am my biggest challenge. I'm my biggest roadblock. I'm my biggest fork in the road. You know what I mean? And once you realize that, I think sky's the limit. Once you learn how to conquer yourself, everything outside of you is easy.
I'm still sitting on that. That's deep.
Yeah, conquer yourself.
That's really, really deep.
And I learned that after writing this. I wish I might have to make a part 2 or add on, because that's a part where it took me years to really realize that, I became very spiritual. I don't want to get too spiritual,
I just opened up the book to this.
What's that chapter?
This is, let me see. Let me go back to the book. Content. Okay, this is chapter, I have to count now. The chapter's name, How to Fail.
Oh.
And he starts it out with a quote. One thing about this book, each chapter starts out with a quote. And the quote is usually from figures that you're familiar with. So you're looking at like, oh, okay. It kind of gives you like an overview on what you're going to read into the chapter.
That was the intention.
And it makes you understand where the quote comes from. Like, I opened up the book to this exact quote. The only difference between a winner and a loser is a winner plays until he wins. And that's a quote from Big Crit, which I'm pretty sure many of you are familiar with. And if you're not, he's a hip-hop artist.
Yep.
Hip-hop artist.
I love Big Crit. Very underrated.
Yeah, really underrated,
yeah.
But really dope artist and stuff like that. And this is one of my favorite quotes in the book. And you hear it all the time, but you never take it in. The wealthiest place in the world are not gold mines, oil fields, diamond mines, or banks. The wealthiest place is the cemetery. There lies companies that were never started, masterpieces that were never painted. In the cemetery, there is buried the greatest treasure of untapped potential. There is a treasure within you that must come out. Don't go to the grave with your treasure still within you. By Miles Monroe.
Rest in peace. He just passed away, I think, about a year or two ago.
Yes. Strong quotes like this basically captivated me. When I read the book, it made me understand each chapter much, much more deeper.
That was the intention. I mean, that Just Add Water chapter.
Oh, yeah, Just Add Water. That was a good one.
Like, the reason why, that chapter is really important is because I think a lot of people feel like they lack. You know what I mean? And honestly, I didn't grow up with a lot of money. I didn't grow up with a lot of connections. I didn't grow up with a lot of friends. I didn't grow up with a lot of, wealthy uncles and aunts. And honestly, I didn't even grow up with a lot of education. If you want to keep it a buck, right? So, Just Add Water is like, how do you take advantage of what you do have? How do you reach in and bring the most out of not just yourself, but the resources you do have? And so, that's an important chapter. That's probably one of the most important chapters in the book.
It is, because you started off with the all-time classic movie. The example from the all-time classic movie, and that is Friday. I love this. I was reading it and I was just like, oh my gosh, Pops did say that.
Yeah, he told Craig, just add water. He said we ran out of milk for the cereal. He said you better add some water in that shit. You know what I mean? And so like, think of your life. Like, think about the things you're missing. You saying, yo, we don't have milk. Think about you. We got so many we don't have milk moments in our lives. Like, just add water.
You set an example earlier. The kid that contacted you about the cryptocurrency, and you were like telling him like, just Google it, research.
Yo,
it's all there.
The water is your iPhone.
It's there.
Like, yo, honestly, if I grew up with an iPhone, I don't even know where my life would be right now. Like, yo, these young people don't even know how good they have it with the amount of access to information that they have. Like,
so there you have it. I am, again, Andrea of Makadrez.com. We just sat and heard Anthony Frasier's story. If you're in the New York area, definitely look out for ABF. It's something you want to check out in the near future if you're of a minority background. Definitely also check out for Venture Capitalist new podcast that they have coming out for 2018. So look out for us soon.
Oh yeah, and get the book too. Don't Dumb Down Your Greatness on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.com.
My nails are not done. Don't judge.
Other players that play the game. Don't be eager to run with crowds. Stay in your lane. Pass this knowledge on to your team, but carry the flame. Cause it's yours and yours alone to brighten your way. Put God first and free your soul. Cause even Olympic winners sometimes lose their goal. So get money.